to bring you now some exclusive new CNN reporting about one of the federal investigations. CNN is now learning for the first time what top Trump officials have told a federal grand jury about an effort by the then president to seize voting machines as part of his scheme to steal the 2020 election. CNN national security reporter Zach Cohen here to join the conversation. So lay this out. You have exclusive reporting. Ken Cuccinelli, top official at the Department of Homeland Security. Chad Wolf, who I believe at the time was his boss at the Department of Homeland Security, testifying to a federal grand jury about being involved in meetings where Trump wants to seize voting machines. What do we know?
John, that's right. Multiple top national security officials that served in the Trump administration have gone into the grand jury and testified in recent months and talked a lot about how they had conversations directly with Trump himself and said, look, DHS, the military, they don't have the authority to seize voting machines. And they had to repeat that message not just to Trump, but to his lawyers, to various allies within the administration and within the White House. But the fact that Trump himself was asking whether or not the federal government could seize voting machines is really one of the first details that we're learning about this closed-door testimony in the Jack Smith January 6th federal investigation. Now, this is all happening in secret. Witnesses go in and they testify in private, but our sources are telling us a little bit and giving us a little window into what prosecutors are asking in front of this grand jury.
And there are two tracks to the Jack Smith investigation. One is about the classified documents. This is about trying to steal the election, trying to overturn the election, obstruct the government, transfer of power and peace like that. What do we know about sort of the context in that?
Absolutely. And so, we know the witnesses have gone in, Cuccinelli and Chad Wolf have gone in and talked about how they told Trump and Rudy Giuliani, who was obviously Trump's lawyer at the time, that DHS couldn't seize voting machines. But then Robert O'Brien, who was Trump's national security advisor at the time, has gone in and talked to prosecutors about a meeting that took place days after Cuccinelli and Wolf warned Trump, where the idea of seizing voting machines came up again, and Trump didn't shoot it down. So we're getting a little bit of a sense of what prosecutors are asking.
Oh, that's a big deal. Gentlemen, let's get some legal context. If Donald Trump's in the room and he's told you do not have the authority to do this, and he insists on doing it anyway.
Everything in a criminal case comes down to intent. And when you are advised of something that you're not allowed to do, that speaks to your intent to do that thing. There are two possible crimes: conspiracy to defraud the United States, which he's investigating, and maybe false statements made regarding some of this material. And that kind of information would touch on that directly.
It was clear from the president's remarks last night, former president's remarks last night, he spent more time on Jack Smith, mostly about the documents, but more time on Jack Smith than he did in New York. What does this new reporting tell you about what Mr. Smith is trying to put together?
Well, I agree with Elliot on the intent, but here the real devil is in the details. I mean, it's what they are saying about Trump's reaction. It's not enough just to ask the question, can I seize them? There's got to be something there that says he doesn't care that he hasn't lost. He still wants to take these ultra-virus actions. That's where the devil's going to be, is what really are they getting him to say? And he's very careful about that. I mean, he does the mob boss thing. He may just be saying, I just ask questions.
Right, fascinating, those such high-level officials. Again, a lot of people, to Trump's argument about witch hunt, these are members of Trump's team now being forced to testify before the grand jury. Zach Cohen, very important reporting. Thank you. It might be months before defendant Donald Trump is back in court in that New York felony case. In the meantime, his goal, crystal clear: rally the base, turn his legal woes into political gain.
I never thought anything like this could happen in America. Never thought it could happen. The only crime that I have committed is to fearlessly defend our nation from those who seek to destroy it. This fake case was brought only to interfere with the upcoming 2024 election, and it should be dropped immediately.
Even fierce Trump Republican critics do see an undeniable short-term political boost. The question is whether he can sustain it as you can see there, this case right now parallels the Republican nominating calendar. Trump legal filings are due 10 days or so before the first Republican debate. His next in-person Manhattan court date is set for December. That just before the calendar turns to 2024 and the kickoff Iowa caucuses. Joining me now to share their reporting and their insights, CNN's Dana Bash, Sungmin Kim of the Associated Press, Jackie Kucinich of the Boston Globe, and Mario Parker of Bloomberg. It is interesting, and you can put the calendar back up there for a second. Schedules in trial cases sometimes change. But right now, motions being filed by the Trump team 10 days or so before the first Republican debate. There will be more debates in the fall. They've yet to be scheduled. The prosecutors have to file a response. He's due in court in December. In February, the Iowa caucuses. Is it possible, yes, he's winning now, but how does the Trump campaign sustain that? He has gained in Republican polls right now. How do they sustain that if you're back in court through that season.
I mean, they usually don't change their tactics very much. So I think this is about making him the victim, that he's standing up for his people, and it's all about, you know, the him being persecuted for his views. Now, the question is whether his opponents on the Republican side start attacking him for this. And we have not seen that in a widespread way, in a cohesive way, quite yet.
Right, you haven't even seen the idea. They all attack Bragg. They all attack the prosecution. They say it's over the line. That's pretty much a standard Republican line. They don't say, but he's not electable. We don't want to do this. We don't do this. But Newt Gingrich, I think, in this political argument has it just right. And Newt himself remembers what it's like to be in the middle of political storms. We're back to Trump all Trump all the time. Nothing makes him happier. Now, he'd like it to be more positive than it is. But if his choice is between being totally ignored or being in the middle of a firestorm, he's in the middle of a firestorm, and he's good at it. That is a fact. Even if you're out there and you don't like Trump, whether you're a Democrat or Republican or independent, Trump knows how to manage a storm.
No, absolutely. You're seeing the Trumpification of the GOP, right? Where a case that ostensibly he committed back in 2016 to help his electability is actually coming back to bite him in a way legally, but also powering him through the primary right now when he was at his weakest in the last 7 years.
And yet, during the speech last night, I was getting texts from Republicans, which I'll essentially describe as this, because they were watching him just lie, conspiracy theories, chaos, all the things that cost Republicans to lose in 2018, for Trump and Republicans to lose in 2020, and then Republicans to underperform in 2022. He claimed again 2020 election fraud. He went after Hunter Biden. He claimed Biden obstructed the classified documents probe into him. He went after the Fulton County District Attorney. He went after the special counsel Jack Smith. He went after the judge in the Manhattan case. He went after the prosecutor in the case. The chaos is what Republicans worry about, that this strengthens him as the nominee and then screws them, forgive my language, down the line.
Yeah, and never mind admitting more than once that he took boxes from the White House.
Openly.
Openly took boxes from the White House. You're exactly right in terms of the reaction from Republicans, that there is almost no moment where the former president, now current candidate, has what, as twisted as it is, a good political day, and it is twisted. Anybody who goes and is arrested and is in court and has to say not guilty is a good thing politically, but that's what it was for Donald Trump, at least that day, can take that and squander it. And he did that with his grievance-filled, rambling, lie-filled speech that he gave last night. Imagine a world, this is not me talking, this is several Republicans sending me unsolicited texts like you, in which he got up there and he said, this is a tough day for me, a tough day for my family, I'm innocent, we're gonna keep fighting, see you later. And not what he did.
Right. What he did was put out a fake mugshot to raise money off it. He goes, you see the room in Mar-a-Lago there, Don Jr., Mike Lindell, Marjorie Taylor Greene. This is the greatest hits of people who still say the 2020 election was stolen, who still say all the things that Republicans believe if he's the nominee again next time.
Right. I mean, I was watching his remarks last night, and it was really deja vu all over again in terms of playing the greatest hits of his grievances and whatnot. And I am just really curious to see how much that support from his fellow, current and future Republican primary challengers will sustain itself. Because you're right, that calendar is really remarkable at how all the court developments line up with the Republican nominating process. And I know that they are supportive now, obviously concerned about offending the Trump base of voters, but I don't know how sustainable that's going to be. I mean, you're running or considering running for the presidential nomination because you think you would be the best candidate against Donald Trump, and yet you are continuously promoting him and helping him in this process. I know that obviously Ron DeSantis has done the little personal dig saying, I don't know anything about, making hush payments to a porn star. And I think, the former Arkansas governor, Asa Hutchinson, has also talked about not attacking the prosecutor, respecting the rule of law, but that's getting drowned out.
Yeah, and I think all you need to know about how complicated and unsure the ramifications of this is the sound of silence from Democrats.
Right.
Chuck Schumer, senator from New York, senior senator from New York, put out a sort of a milquetoast statement saying he hopes that he has a fair trial and that's it. Pretty much no other Democrat has said anything. That tells you a lot. They want to stay away from this.
And that Biden hasn't declared he's running again yet. I mean,
yeah,
why,
there's
why
that.
would you though?
Right.
If you have all of this turmoil going on the Republican side.
And in an odd way, the fact that it's months now until the Trump team has to file their motions, if that calendar stands, again, perversely, might help him politically, because if you're one of those Republicans, you're looking for something to grab on to turn and say, see, we can't elect this guy again, and you got to wait.
And that's the problem, right? Just talking to Republicans, they're like, Ron DeSantis, what are you doing at this point? Like, you haven't taken any shots. Nobody's standing up to him. Right now, the field looks a little weaker than most people expected. And so Donald Trump is lapping it off of this irony, this situation chock full of irony.
The chaos helps him with the base, hurts him with everybody else. We'll see how it plays.